Hi, welcome to Baseball on Canvas, the first show of its type to look at the game of baseball not just as a great sport with tradition and great history, it's also looked at as an art form. My name is JD, George de Lara, and I'm the artist that does the paintings that you'll be seeing on this television show. The Junior Marlins Baseball League is the sponsor of this television show, and we are basically an organization of coaches that volunteer their times to create baseball opportunities for kids from semillitas, which are 3 and 4 year olds, those are the seedlings, all the way through 13 and 14, and we may even have a 15 and 16 division this year. Today's guest is Roger Enriquez. He's the head coach of the West Kendall Braves. In all honesty, one of the toughest teams that we played all season. Great group of kids, great sportsmanship, and they have a great coach. Welcome to the show, Roger.
Thank you, JD.
How you doing?
Very good.
Well, tell me, what are the biggest challenges that you face as a coach?
The biggest challenge I face today when I play in these leagues is basically playing against these teams, which is a big problem, that you know these players shouldn't be there, because if you're playing in the age of 11, 12, and you look to your dugout, you know you have players there that are 14 and 15 years old, yet they're playing with kids that are in a division they shouldn't be in.
Right. Why do you think that happens?
Because today it's win at all expense. You ask any kid today, they'll tell you, yeah, we have fun playing ball, but only if you win. Right. Once you start getting into that losing streak of losing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, what happens is players start disappearing. They don't show up no more because it's no longer fun.
Yeah, it takes the fun out of it. So what do you suggest? How do you think this can be enforced? We've seen everything even into like Little League World Series a few seasons ago where they had a kid go all the way through and that exact same thing happened. He was 15, playing in a 12 and under division or whatever. What is the key? Why does that keep happening, and how can we as coaches and as parents in a league prevent that from happening?
The parents are the number one people that come up with false birth certificates, because I've seen it. I've had kids pulled out of my team because they can't handle that division, and they falsify their papers and play in a lower division.
Right. Does that help the kid? I mean,
no, it doesn't. It does not. It actually hurts the kid.
Right.
When will it stop, like you asked? When one kid gets hurt. When one kid gets hurt, and then they start finding out and doing homework and say, this kid should never have been playing here because he's overage, right, and because of your responsibilities, you just hurt or maybe even kill somebody. That's when it'll stop. When charges are brought up against the league, the commissioner, and the team that brought the illegal player in there. And sometimes the coach of the opposing team, they knew that that kid was overage, yet right, he put his team out there and ran the risk of that kid getting hurt.
I mean, I can't understand why anyone would do that. First of all, the kid is overage and he's playing against a younger competition. That's not going to help him in any way. And like you said, there could be some kid who gets hurt because you're trying to win a game using kids that are overage or you know, that shouldn't be playing in that league. Okay, as a coach, to prepare your team, what are some of the steps that you take, or coaching philosophy, something that you bring to your team to deal with the adversity that you have to go out there and play in? Do you like match them, say if they got overage players, would you go out and get overage players, or would you try and keep your team honest, I guess, and play within the rules and teach your kids the right way to play the game? Is that you know?
When we get on the field, we never look at the other team. If you notice, you played against us last season, we get our team and we go to the opposite end of the field and they just warm up there. They really never look at the team they're playing against, right, until they're on the field.
Right.
Most of the kids that were intimidated by these old teams in the past, they basically have dropped out because they didn't want to play at this level no more.
Right, right.
The kids that you see now, specifically on my team, they're used to it. They know that they played against that team that you saw last year, 11 and 12, last season, they were playing against 14 and 15-year-olds. Right. So the intimidation's gone already.
Right. Yeah, well, my own team, we took a team that was a second place runner-up in the 9 and under division. We lost the championship game by 1 run. We were up 9, we ended up losing the game. But we took a team that was a 9 and under team, and we got bracketed into a 12 and under division. Right away, we're dealing with, like I told my kids from day one, look, we're dealing with adversity. This is a great lesson in adversity. Again, we don't look at the other team, just like you say. We go out there to play the game and play our game. Like, you know, like you saw, what we do is, your kids, right off the bat, I can see a kid warming up and I can tell how long they've been playing ball and their skill level and their ability. I'm sure you can also. So right away as a coach, I got to try and tailor my game to my strength. My kids aren't big kids. We're not going to hit home runs. We're not going to. So we play a small ball game where we go out there and bunt and steal bases and slow the game down to our pace, like I was telling you earlier, where we can't get into a competition where we're going to match you guys inning by inning, pitch by pitch. Your kids are older, bigger, not older, I mean, they're the same age, but they're just got, in that case, older, because if they're 12 and mine are 10 or 11 and 9, I mean, there's still a couple years difference. But the idea is that you can still play, even if you know that you're playing against adversity, like the game of baseball is, you can control the game to a certain degree, by using your benefits and your adversity and your talents to slow the game down or to play it at your pace. My goal was to slow the game down. I mean, we got a 2-hour game. I'd rather spend an inning, play an inning in an hour, and play a 2-inning game or a 3 or 4-inning game than play a 7-inning game where we lose 21-0.
That's where you have the bad coach. How many coaches do you know would go out there and take advantage of your team?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Let's beat this team up. Let's get 30 runs, and let's say we won.
Right.
Nobody gets nothing out of that.
Right. As you did on one of our games, our second game, he, purposely made kids who can come up and hit a home run on every bat. He was having them bunt. He was having them squeeze plays. He was having them play the fundamentals of the game, not just to not embarrass my kid, which was the underlying thing there. I mean, we knew that the game could have got out of hand very easily, but basically we made these kids do something that they wouldn't normally do. Normally they go out there to hit. Your fourth hitter doesn't come out to bunt.
We won that game, but we saw
know.
something that made us a lot more content and happy. When we finished playing that game, we looked at you guys. You guys had lost, but you guys were jumping, and the smile on your guy. How many ground balls did your shortstop and your pitcher catch that game?
Exactly.
And they really had a good time.
Exactly. That's it. That's the bottom line. What we keep stressing, that the kids got to have fun.
Yep.
Like anything in life, if you're not having fun, you're not gonna, get the best out of it, which is to get better at it and to, compete. Basically, the whole idea is to get these kids ready to compete, not just in baseball, but in life. I mean, life is adversity. Baseball, in a lot of ways, is adversity also. We talked about your approach. Now, what is the most important thing that you as a coach see in a player? I bring you a new player, say, look, coach, I want you to, can this kid play? Can he be part of the team? What are the most important tools that you look for in a young player?
Attitude. A few years ago when they were 8, 9 years old, all right, we'll work out them. We're already at that age though, they're 11, 12, and they're playing a different type of ball. Right. They can be, this cannot be instructional league for them. They have to have the winning attitude. Right. They have to go on that field knowing or thinking that they can win, and they don't care who's on that pitcher's mound. They're going out to the win at all expenses. Right. That means all expenses by the rules. Right. But they have to go out there knowing that they can win.
Right. So you think attitude is the most important? I kind of see that all. Yeah. My case, I've had one team where I had 5 kids that had never played ball before. Our whole approach, Jeff Bernstein, Ricky Montenegro, one of our coaches, Monterosa, I'm sorry. Our whole attitude is to teach them to have confidence in themselves, to play within themselves, to go out and play hard, do what you need to do, and everything else will come, but the kid that has the attitude that wants to learn and is not afraid is the one that's going to succeed. I had one of my favorite kids, where we were playing a parents and kids game. After one of our games, we started playing a little pickup game. The kids wanted to challenge the parents, so we started playing. My at-bat, I've played ball all my life. The last thing that I would ever want to do is hurt one of my kids. But I swing at the ball, barely trying to hit it, but a line drive came off that hit him in the leg, went down. This kid was so tough. He did not shed a tear. Alan did not shed a tear, got up, kept playing. Right away, what I did to him, I said, look, Alan, let me tell you something. Right now, you just got hit by a line drive that nobody in this league is going to be able to hit, because I hit it. There's nobody in the league can hit the ball as hard as I did. It was an accident, but look at you. You're not even crying. That kid's game changed. That he did an incredible turnaround from a kid who had a great swing, big boy, great ability, but was just not making contact, didn't have the confidence. Once he got hit, it's a terrible thing. It's not something that you would ever plan, but it kind of built his self-esteem to a point where he saw that he could get hit by a ball that hard and still be there and still play. The worst was over. The worst was over, right, exactly. So from that moment on, he started hitting, he started playing, his whole attitude changed, and at the end of the season, I had him pitching. He's a big lefty, throws hard. Something that you would never expect, because he was a good player and a fun kid, but was just marginal. That one little thing changed his game completely. So I agree. Attitude is something that is very important, and
If you have a kid with a winning attitude, that will rub off on
the rest, right?
Just the opposite. You have a kid with a bad attitude, and that will spread even faster.
Absolutely. So how do you deal with something like that? Let's say you do have a kid whose attitude isn't what you want.
Generally, we speak to him once or twice throughout the season. If it doesn't change, we ask him to leave at the end of the season.
Right.
Up till today,
You're saying you'll try
we
your
have
best
not-
to get him to fall into line, but
We have not had that problem as of today. We've been together, like I said, since at least 5 or 6 years.
right.
We have not had that problem as of today, and hopefully we won't.
How important are the parents in developing that positive attitude? And
I am very lucky with that. I have probably one of the best parents I can ask for.
Right.
Again, we've been together for
Likewise, yeah.
many, many years. They're always at the practices.
Right.
They're always in the game an hour before time.
Right.
We have parents that they're coming from the Keys to bring their kids in to
Right.
play on a game. And then when we finish at 11 o'clock at night, they go back to their vacation in the Keys. I have no complaints. I have the best parents I could ask for. I have parents that cooperate after each game. We'll go to your house today for barbecue. Tomorrow we'll go to your. We always do something. We travel together. We go on vacation together. I have been blessed in that aspect. Parents are very, very important, and I have really very good parents.
And likewise, I've had a great group of parents, and it does make the whole experience better for everyone involved. Get them to practice. That's very important. I mean, if you don't take your kid to practice, that's where coaches can work with your kids and teach them, and more than anything, be confident that we're going to put them in a position where they're not going to get hurt, or they're not going to get embarrassed, or just lose a game because they just don't have the skill level to play that position. So practice is the place where you can really get your kids ready to play. I mean, and some of the parents don't see the importance of that. They think just bring them to the games is enough, and
I see that happen with a lot of teams. Parents think that this is a babysitting thing, and it's not.
It's not,
I see
absolutely.
parents come, here's my kid, I'll be back in 3 hours. No, you can't do that.
Right.
Because first of all, you don't know who I am. You don't know anything about me.
on
And
that
I'm
note,
not-
we're going to cut you off for a brief second. I apologize. We're going to pick up right there when we come back. We're going to take a short commercial break, and we'll be back with more of Baseball on Canvas.
Sometimes it's the hardest thing to choose.
My father was a great hitter, but he knew that life was about more than just one game.
'Cause every choice that's made is born somewhere in between who you are today and who you'd like to be. And no matter the decision, there'll be one more coming through. The easy way out, or the right thing to do.
So when that umpire made a bad call that ended the game for Dad, and then needed help with his car, my father made the right call. Helping others, the right choice. Pass it on. A message from the Foundation for a Better Life.
Hi, welcome back to Baseball on Canvas. We're talking with Roger Enriquez, the head coach of the West Kendall Braves. Roger, we were talking about basically dealing with the parents and how to get them to be better at helping the kids. One of the things that I want to do in the show is what we call coaching the parents. Tips. What are some tips that you can bring forth to help parents who say are from a South American country, for example, where they've played soccer and they know how to, get their kids ready for soccer games, but now they're playing baseball and we have a whole different set of rules and requirements. What would be some of the things that you would like to, tips that we can give the parents?
What parents got to realize is that we're not here to babysit them. They need to be there, one, because they need to watch after their own son.
Right.
Two, their kids need their parent support, their cheering. Kids feel much better if they know that their parents are behind that fence cheering them on.
Absolutely.
Plus, there's also emergency factors. If something should happen to that child on the field, We're not the parents. We cannot call the paramedics. We cannot do anything because we don't know what if this kid has something special medication or anything. They need to be there. Whenever we play teams that are really, really tough, I notice that's when all the parents come out for our team, both mom and dad. Because generally it's a mom or a dad, and I think the reason they do that is for moral support. And the team plays at such a higher level because they know that their parents are cheering them on. And it's not just their parents, it's parents in numbers. So they're cheering on their son plus everybody else's kid, and the team plays at a higher level.
And I've noticed that, at least with my kids, that we can have a coach as Jeff. You know how Jeff is. Jeff can get really emotional and will actually literally scream, stop, go, whatever the instructions are that we're getting the kids to try to do. Yet a parent will say something as simple as swing when we've told them to bunt, and they will swing. They will not follow the bunt because for some reason, I mean, which is a great thing in the real world where the kids will hear their parents' voice, you know, over anything else, but on the baseball field, you know, coaches got to run the game, and that's kind of one of the problems that I've had, especially with the dads. I mean, they'll stand behind the plate over here, behind the fence, and are screaming at the kid, swing and hit the ball like a man, and you swing like a girl, which you saw. I had girls on my team that can hit the ball probably better than the parent that's saying that. You know, it's offensive to women in general, but I mean, it doesn't really help the kid. So how do you deal with parents that do that? Have you had that problem?
Yes, you saw it this season. We had a kid who was a very good kid. And I've always told the kids, on my particular kids, if you have a kid who's really good at 12 or 13 years old and he's available, there's a reason why he's available that nobody else has him. Sure enough, we picked up this kid. He's a lefty. The kid was an ace, throwing it down the pipe. But, you know, the catch would call one thing and he'd throw another thing. We couldn't figure out what was going on. Then we turned around and sure enough, the father was calling the game from behind the fence.
Oh my God.
And once he got caught doing that, now it just wasn't calling the game. Then we started blaming why his son was getting knocked around. He wasn't blaming his son, he was blaming the catcher, he was blaming the outfielder, and he was saying it verbally. After the game ended, we told the kid, we can't use you no more. We can no longer use you because now you're not being coached by us, you're being coached by your father, and your father is insulting the players on this team, and we're just not going to accept that.
That's the point right there.
And if you recall, that player was picked up by another player. Another team was picked up right there because he was that good. And I think he was released a week later.
Is that the lefty that was with Mike?
Exactly. I don't want to mention the name. Yeah, exactly.
I know. Yeah.
And again, if he's available at 12 and 13, there's a reason why he's available because kids are usually picked up like that when they're that good.
The biggest thing for parents is to let the coaches run the game. You're bringing them there to put them in the hands of these guys who basically dedicate their time, their effort, their patience. These guys are guys with baseball backgrounds that have played the game. You got to let go and let the coaches do their job because they are part of a team. Remember, your kids are there to play on a team. They're not there to be individuals and to, you know, baseball is a team sport. And